So I think the progression has been what we always wanted. We are building a community of people who believe that it's important to share what you're feeling, sharing emotions, sharing what you do with your life, sharing tips with others, whether it's masters or your personal experience. So very happy with the progression. In fact, people are constantly asking when are we bringing to other cities, and we are working on that.
So we're talking about patterns, we're talking about habits. I think it all starts with recognizing, first of all, that there are patterns. Half the time we don't realize that there are patterns. We think things are random. We think we are reacting to others. But the others have their own patterns and we have our own patterns, and together we are co-creating some more patterns. And if it's your life partner, or if you're a parent, or if you're in an intimate relationship, you're literally creating a third pattern as a separate entity. And that marriage, that parenting, that journey has its own patterns. Does that make sense? Do you resonate with that? So, first of all, are we even aware that we have patterns? So many times we just think it's happening back and forth like a game of tennis, but it isn't.
I think this whole self thing is sometimes, honestly, a bit overrated. You know, I want this, so I'm going to do it. It is selfish in the end. But there are you live with other people. So similarly, if you're talking about do I get up and go to my desk and try and work, I do. It rarely happens. It happens when I'm out of the house very easily. But when I'm in the house, there are other things that hit you. Sometimes I really resent it because I want to sit down and work, or I have a deadline. When it really is a last minute deadline, I will close that door and I will get down to it.
We have people here who love to share their own experiences. So I'm just going to pass the mic around now.
The bazaar out there, I really like that metaphor, right? The bazaar out there is so noisy. It's so noisy that sometimes you cannot listen. You just can't. Even if you want to try, you just can't listen to your own voice. And that's difficult. So sometimes you just have to wear those noise cancellation earphones. You just have to tune out.
So I think basically it depends on what the situation is. Because at one point, patterns are supposed to be good, but if the situation is not right, then the pattern may not really, you may not be able to follow the pattern.
We have developed certain patterns. Okay, some patterns, like sometimes it is about me, sometimes it is about any other factor. It may be kids, it may be other social community. So there are certain things which are good to me, good for me, but not maybe good for others. So how do we identify good and bad things?
How's the relationship with the self will decide your right and wrong. There is nobody on earth who can give you an answer for that.
Well, actually, I was quite surprised how I would integrate food with a talk on patterns, but I think it flowed really well, the really enjoyable session, and a lot more interaction than I expected. I would just encourage you to get out there and make it more visible.
A very enriching session on learning new things, getting to know yourself better, and definitely would want to make the next sessions to come. Thank you so much for having me and inviting me here.
I think they're very fruitful, and especially I think instead of the ladies, I think even more men should be involved. Because like I was just telling Vidisha also, men should attend more, so they also get to learn about it.
I am a die-hard fan of the TRM Talks, and this is the fourth one. And I continue to enjoy it, and I think each session it gets better than the last one. And this conversation of patterns, I think it took me back to so many of them which I had, like everyone, some were good, some were bad, some I think I made them better, but the whole conversation surrounding it was so beautiful.
To know the patterns and how to understand the patterns, you need to internalize and understand that there is some pattern. If once you are aware of it, you are supposed to understand whether it is serving you or not. So you can either break it or continue with that, and that's a really great thought to carry with me today for the day. So I'm really happy to attend the session and understand and get some clarity about the patterns.
So these are very enriching, and these are these exchange of thoughts are very helpful, because when you go back home, your takeaways are these positive thoughts, and then they are like those germs which stay with you, and then they germinate, and they grow into thoughts. Develop into thoughts rather. So I feel it quite enriching, and I also feel that such sessions should continue.
The session was very good because we in fact are also in the Brahma Kumaris in spirituality since the past 18 years. So it kind of rang a bell with our thoughts, and I would like to come again.
Biggest takeaway for my today's session was that spend more time with yourself. I guess recently I've started that journey of thinking about me. I'm also the follower of thinkrightme.app. So I guess that .me, the significance of .me, I guess is inculcating in me, and that seed started growing now, and it was really nice and quite enriching. Thank you.
It was so spontaneous. We were talking about patterns, and everybody had questions, and everybody had things they could relate to. So clearly, there is a need for this kind of a safe community where we can all just come together and share. I, for once, thoroughly enjoyed the session. I loved sharing. I loved getting different perspectives, different kinds of questions, and how the conversation really navigated itself. I think it was very beautiful. So keep doing this, much more needed in this world.